Today is November 5th. It is the 30th day of the war between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. Let's look at some Hebrew headlines in the main newspapers. B'ma'ozei Hamas, in the strongholds of Hamas. We see here Israeli tanks in Gaza, and these are descriptive stories about the Israeli troops in Gaza in the Hamas strongholds. Alafim, the next headline is Alafim behafganot lema'an hachatufim. Thousands are in demonstrations for the release of the hostages. And we see here pictures of many people holding up photos and posters of the hostages asking for their release now. Down here we see new faces of IDF soldiers that have lost their life in the last few days fighting in Gaza. The main article is a descriptive article about the IDF soldiers in Gaza. And the journalist has joined them, and they're saying that the villages are empty of civilians, and there's a lot of destruction around. And everywhere there's some tunnel openings from which the terrorists can come up at any time and shoot. And from this land, the terrorists left and attacked Israel. And birds of prey are hovering above, searching for corpses. But the soldiers are determined to win. They're saying, Na'aseh kol ma shetzarich. We will do everything we need. But only after Hamas will recuperate of this big shock, we'll see if this war has really been a successful one. The next article reads, Ein chatzi milchama. There's no such thing as half, chetzi, half war. Mefakdei hamaracha, the commanders of this battle, are very clear. Zurak ha'hatchala, this is only the beginning. And they say we need time. Because this time, it's not just another little battle, it is a war that its purpose is to remove the threat that has been built up through the last 3 decades. And there needs to be time for that. I'm turning the page for the next headline. And it says, Hagiborim, the heroes, shelo yashuvu, that will not return. It's about the soldiers that have lost their life in the last few days in this war against Hamas. Shomrei Israel, they're calling them, the guardians of Israel. And throughout the weekend, 11 more soldiers have lost their lives. Here it says Yehonatan, he's 28, and they say he was a good friend with a gold heart. And there's Benny, and there's Uriah. And here are more stories about them, about who they are, who are their families. Many of them are married with children. It's heartbreaking to read. In this headline, it says, Israel b'milchama, Israel's at war. And it's the war over the hostages, hamilchama l'chatufim. And there's a cry, ze'aka, b'chol rachvei ha'aretz, throughout all the land. Tachziru otam habayta, have them come home. These are demonstrations for the release of the hostages in Gaza. This is in Tel Aviv, this is in Jerusalem, and there are thousands of people demonstrating. This is the daily segment of the hostages. Each time they show one hostage with a family member that's asking for their return. Chatufim, hostages. Here's the yellow ribbon. And on the t-shirt is the kidnapped Roni, 25-year-old, and this is his sister that's holding his t-shirt. And she says, we need to do everything, tzirich lasot hakol, to get them back home. The next headline reads, Hafsakat esh mishpatit, a judicial ceasefire. And we see the pictures of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Attorney General Baharav Miara. As we know, before the war, there was a reform that was trying to take place in the judicial system with a set of 5 changes, and they were rivals. So in the last few weeks during this war, they became, from enemies, they became partners. Me'oivim leshutafim. This article is about a chetz. The chetz literally means arrow, but it's not an arrow. It's a big missile, and it's a big system that shoots specific missiles that are long range. It says maher yoter, it's faster. Gavoa yoter, it's higher. Yakar yoter, it's way more expensive. It says each missile costs $3 million, and the usage of it is rare in Israel. But the last few days, it has been used twice to intercept specific missiles, one from Yemen, the other one yesterday from Hamas. So Israel says the aerial defense is ready for any extreme scenarios. This next article reads Olam Acher, different world. And we see here demonstrators, pro-Palestinian demonstrators in Berlin. This article is about the anti-Semitism throughout the world. It's increasing. And from Joja from France, it says, is afraid to put a mezuzah on the doorpost of his home. Sasha from Germany is tucking in his Star of David necklace under his shirt. And Beth from America is disconnecting friendships with friends who support Hamas. And yesterday, in France, all this violence, it says, is translated into actions. While a Jewish lady was stabbed twice in the entrance of her home with you call this tzlav keres, sprayed on her door. And the top of the page reads, Israel b'milchama, Israel is at war. B'chazara leyamim afelim, back to the dark days. This is the daily segment of the faces of civilians and soldiers that have been killed on October 7th. Still, these are new faces that are coming in because about 1,400 people were killed that day. The horrific attack. It says, Israel b'milchama, Israel is at war. Hapanim, the faces. Shenizkor la'ad, that we will remember forever. May their memory be blessed. So in the Haaretz newspaper, there's an article about Nasrallah's speech that was taken, that took place on Friday. And it says, Ne'um Nasrallah, the speech of Nasrallah, outlined the solidarity boundaries with Gaza, right? So it's solidarity. It says here, it is not sacrificial with Gaza. It's not equal with Gaza. It's just solidarity. And it says Nasrallah helped stabilize Iran as a powerful country in the region. Nasrallah also ended his speech open-ended, saying all options are open. And down here we see that it says Toshvei Aza, the residents in Gaza, understood that Ein ma lismoch al Hezbollah. They cannot trust Hezbollah, meaning Hezbollah is not going to come and defend them and participate in this war, so they say. It says that Gaza residents are disappointed and critical of Nasrallah's speech. So again, Hassan Nasrallah is the head of the terrorist group called Hezbollah up in the northern border of Israel in Lebanon. So these were some of the main headlines in the Hebrew newspapers. Please, for more stories, go to allisrael.com and follow us on social media, including YouTube. Please share these stories with your friends to get this reality out there. Thank you. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.